Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to your drive-by. This is where we answer your questions. What is pressing in your life or business that you need help with? The number is 8333-ASK-SDR. Call that number. Leave as much detail as you can, but ask your question, and Christian and I will answer it. 8333-ASK-SDR. So this question this week you're going to read because I think it's a pretty relevant question.
Yeah, so it's good. I would say it actually is one of those ones that wasn't a question, but there's a question in there at the end of the day that we're going to talk about. It's pretty good. So before that, so I don't know if I've told you about this or not, but I'm going to this group like once a week where I go in there and it's a meeting, kind of like AA. And last night I go in and I sit down, and the guy that runs the meeting comes out. He's like, welcome to the plastic surgery addicts group. I see a lot of new faces here. I'm really disappointed. You like that one?
Yeah.
That's from my Instagram buddy, Keith. He sends me great jokes. Thanks, Keith. So here's the question / comment.
So wait, if that joke didn't work, we would blame Keith or we would blame you?
No, it's me.
Okay.
I take full responsibility for it being funny or not funny. I'm totally okay with it either way. All right, so this is from one of our LinkedIn posts, and this is Adam says, my biggest problem I have now is a GM that knows nothing about service but feels his decisions should be followed even though it hurts our bottom line. Drives me nuts. So Adam has someone coming down off the mountain saying to do certain things even though maybe the GM doesn't know exactly what should be done or how service works. And how would we handle that is the question, even though we didn't ask it.
So I'm going to pretend like it's me in that situation,
okay,
which I know probably isn't easy because I think a little different, right? So, but trying to think more like me maybe. What I would do, what's the general manager's name, do you think?
Steve.
I am not working for a general manager named Steve. Come up with something better.
Bart?
Joe Montana.
Joe. I like Joe.
Joe Montana.
I could have gone with
Joe Montana is my general manager, and he doesn't know anything about service. So the first thing I would do is go to Joe and I'd say, hey, Joe, and I know it's a little late now, but I would still use your excuse. I'd be like, hey, I really want to get on the same page for 2023 because I have some big goals. Would you mind meeting me for lunch or for like a little dinner after work? And I want to kind of talk about my goals and your goals for my department also. And I might even throw in, because it's me, I'll throw in, and also like, how can I help sell more cars? I know that the economy might drop and new cars is going to be in a different situation. People have negative equity. How can I help sell more cars and service? I want to talk about that because he'll want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, Chris. It's going to be a real big problem. It's not going to be like throwing touchdowns.
That's how Joe Montana talks. He talks like he's been hit in the head a couple times, maybe. So could you talk
slower?
Could we be in character?
Yeah. So Chris.
I'm the greatest quarterback of all time.
Just being the greatest quarterback of all time does not.
By the way, Joe, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Not a fan, but stats would say.
Chris, you're on thin ice right now. I don't know if you want to continue that line of conversation. But yeah, selling cars isn't going to be like throwing a pass to Jerry Rice.
Now, here's the thing I would do to good old Joe is if he didn't, he probably is going to take me up on the lunch. I might have to chase him a little bit.
Yeah.
But he eventually, the first time we have a date for lunch, he might be busy.
So lesson there is do not get discouraged by the first blow off.
Yeah, that's just
good.
Just
assume it.
Just plan on that happening. But when we finally do sit down, and I mean maybe because Joe is so been hit in the head so many times, I need to order takeout. I don't know, but whatever. Whenever we have our lunch, and my goal with that lunch is to get him to tell me what his goals are for my department, and then get on the same page, but use his goals to then create a narrative that supports the thing that makes us money.
Yes.
I have a saying, Christian. Maybe you've heard this saying, or maybe you haven't, but it's said a lot around my house.
You can't read the label of the jar you're in?
No, around my house.
Okay. Let's see.
I didn't mean for you to guess.
Oh.
I was just going to tell you. You got to be smarter than the bulldog. So
that's pretty funny.
What happens a lot of times is we get somebody that's going to watch the dogs, right? So I have 4 bulldogs, if you guys don't know. And bulldogs, historically, not the smartest, right? You got border collies, you got poodles, I don't know, 50 other dogs, and then you got bulldogs. So they're not winning the IQ test. And then they also are just, I don't know if it's because they're not smart, but they're very stubborn.
It's funny, isn't it?
So even though they might not have gone to the bathroom for 8 hours and their ears are popping and they're pinching one off, they don't want to go. Like you want to go for a walk and they're not like, so people will get in these situations where they're dragging the dog and the dog won't go. And I always say, you got to be smarter than the bulldog. Like you're the adult here, they're a dog and not that smart. Nothing like a little piece of cheese in your pocket to get them moving or whatever it is. But you got to be smarter than the dog. You can't negotiate with the bulldog because they're not that smart, and 2, they're kind of stubborn. Now, I'm not saying Joe Montana in this scenario isn't that smart, but most general managers that don't understand service,
they stay away from it.
And they would rather be ignorant than complacent. They would rather not worry about it than get it on them.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? In a sense. So you gotta be smarter than the bulldog as far as you gotta make your boss feel good about what you're doing, and you gotta understand and have a line of communication where you're on the same page, even if the same page is perceived not real.
Yep.
Let me say that again. Even if the same page is perceived and not real. Like what's the saying I say around here all the time about stories?
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Same. So this applies, I think, to this in a sense. Like they have their wants and needs, and you think your job as a service manager is to run a profitable service department, but most general managers don't know how to run a profitable service department, and they just want to sell cars.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that that's really what's happening, and the story you're telling yourself might be true, but it's not going to get you where you want to go.
And you're speaking their language when you say, "And what can we do to help you sell more cars?" It's great. I think that that's the whole thing with this question is that recognizing as a leader in a service department, there's 2 things that you have to do. One is leading your people and managing down, but equally important is the ability to manage up. Like if you're not controlling, I think we had said this a couple of episodes about a seat at the table when the big decisions are being made for the dealership. As a service manager, you want to be on those decisions, but you control the relationship with your general manager. It doesn't have to be the other way around. That hierarchy is, in a lot of cases, it's fictional.
I had a boss once, and I haven't had that many bosses in my life, but this boss was a great mentor to me, incredible car guy. And I won't say his name because of what I'm about to say, but he was great. And one time, well, maybe just to understand what it's like to manage me. Like if you're my boss and I work for you, like it's probably hard. I've probably got so many things going on that even as my boss, you can't really tell.
Yeah, there's a good reason you own the company.
Right. Not the best employee because I always, I'm always thinking different or whatever, right? So he said to me once, and it caught me off guard, but it really is a great lesson and applies to this. He said, every once in a while, I wouldn't mind a compliment on my tie.
Wow.
Because you have this relationship where he's your boss. You're trying to, there's a bunch of things in that position I was in. I'm managing construction, money, loans, employees, sales, liability, lawsuits, like all of these different things. And it becomes very business-like and very short, right? Like a lot of conversations. He also was the type of boss where, and like I said, I learned a lot from him. If you handed him anything that didn't fit on a piece of paper, he wasn't talking about it.
So I really like that too.
Yeah. But in that dynamic, you make it all about business. And what he was trying to say was, hey, it would be nice every once in a while if you just were human.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of. Does that make sense?
It's a great lesson.
And so you get in this mode like, oh, the general manager doesn't know service and they've made a couple moves or made you lay people off or done things that cost you money, or they're doing free oil changes for life and now you perceive you're losing money on every oil change, which is one we hear a lot, right? And my take on that is always like, hey, you got people coming in, why don't you just get better at converting? Like, you're going to have
There's
traffic.
a way to make the model work.
The free oil changes for life, your RO count ain't going down.
Yep. That's right.
And so what you're saying is, oh, we changed our business model, not the GM is torturing me. But it's all perspective. And so, everybody likes a compliment on their tie every once in a while.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Good stuff. Nice way to end it.
You don't have a joke for the end? You've ended with a joke for a while. No? Okay, thanks. Remember, the number's 8333-ASK-SDR, and we'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks for watching this week's Drive-By. I hope we gave you something to think about over the weekend. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.